Radio.
No Michael K.
No Michael K.
Jake Asman in for Michael, taking you till 3. A lot to talk about here on a busy Thursday in New York City. The fallout continues following the Mets over the span of 48 hours, letting Pete Alonso and Edwin Diaz both walk in free agency. We are still waiting for the Yankees to make a notable move. There is a report from Jeff Passan on ESPN that the Yankees are listening on offers for Jazz Chisholm. So that's about the only Yankee news I could dig up and find. And just because they're listening, that really doesn't mean much to me. All right, they're listening. Great. What does that mean? Are they making any overtures in return? Right? Like you call Brian Cashman. You say, hey, we want Jazz Chisholm. And Cashman says, make an offer. And then what happens? So that we don't have other than the note in Passan's column that they're listening. So not a whole lot going on with the Yankees. The Mets, there's a lot going on with them, but they haven't done anything. And as we're getting set here to do the show, we had another big baseball free agent signing that just went down. Another top reliever is off the board. Robert Suarez is signing a 3-year, $45 million deal with the Braves. So you have the Phillies bringing back Kyle Schwarber. That happened yesterday. On the same day the Mets lose Alonso, and they've already lost Edwin Diaz to the Dodgers. And now here are the Atlanta Braves signing the former closer from the Padres. And I understand that there's a segment of the Met fan base that believes in David Stearns, and he has this plan. And to that I say, okay, I'm sure he has a plan, but why do you believe in him? I'm not saying that ultimately the Mets can't build a better baseball team without Pete Alonso, without Edwin Diaz. But I struggle to see how they are a better team no matter what they decide to now do, barring them going out there and signing everybody, which I don't think they're going to do. That doesn't seem like the David Stearns way. I've heard some Met fans say, well, they're going to go sign Cody Bellinger now. Really? Like that doesn't seem like how they're going to operate based on what we know about Stearns to this point. And again, the Mets' biggest problem this past year was pitching. Are they going to sign a legitimate arm? Are they going to add another big-time reliever? Because right now, all the Mets have done is lose Alonso and Diaz. They have not added any major league players to their team in free agency. You know, the GM of the team, president of baseball operations, called it a reimagining of the roster. And the two major moves that we've seen this season are, I guess if you combine Diaz and Alonso, letting them walk, and then having a Brandon Nimmo for Marcus Semien trade. Right? We mentioned Devin, but like that can't be it, right? That can't be the big move. We signed Devin Williams and boom, we're ready to go. They obviously have a plan. I just struggle to see what exactly the plan is and why there's a segment of Met fans that are so confident in David Stearns. I don't get it. And one of the laziest takes that I have seen is from people being like, well, you know, Edwin and Pete, they were awesome Mets, but the Mets, they won absolutely nothing with those guys. Like, I'm all about letting Stearns blow up the core and doing it his way. Like, I've seen a variation of, like, that opinion from some of the Met fans out there trying to spin this as a positive. And I struggle with that because, again, Edwin Diaz and Pete Alonso had nothing to do with the fact the Mets ultimately collapsed last year or ultimately didn't win a championship during their time in Queens. Like, to me, that's just a lazy take. Like, should the Yankees trade Aaron Judge because they haven't won anything with him yet either? You know? The guy can't win. He's been with the Yankees since 2017. They haven't won a championship. So I struggled to kind of figure out what exactly this, like, master plan that David Stearns has. Because I don't think you're a better baseball team when you let the best closer in baseball go to the two-time defending champions and you let a guy who was second in RBIs last year, you let him walk because you didn't want to keep him. Because it's all about what? Run prevention, or you were worried Alonso wouldn't age properly? We talk about Pete Alonso like he's 35 years old. I mean, the guy always plays. Don't we want that? And like, we look at athletes nowadays, and so many of them, it feels like they go out of their way to not have to play. You know what I love about Pete Alonso? The last 2 years, you know how many games Pete Alonso has played? 162. 2023, you know how many games he played in? 154. 2022, you know how many games he played in? 160. 2021, 152. Played in 57 of the 60 games during the COVID season. His rookie year, he played in 161 of 162. Like, I understand being hesitant to give a guy a long-term deal if you're concerned about his durability. But that's the one thing I think Alonso, besides the fact he's an absolute unit and he mashes the baseball at a incredibly high level. I don't understand the way the Mets internally viewed Alonso. And again, they made such a big deal of him breaking the franchise's all-time home run record just to let him walk. So I don't get it. I don't understand why some Met fans just have like this blind faith in David Stearns. I'm not saying he can't make some moves. He certainly will. But I don't see how you're a better baseball team by letting Pete Alonso and Edwin Diaz walk. And I've also heard some say, well, the Mets, they're punting on this upcoming season. No, they're not. You can't punt on a year when your payroll was an MLB record this past year, when you gave Soto the contract you gave him. So I'm sitting here now, a little over 24 hours removed from Alonso going to the Orioles, and you try and figure out what the Mets' plan is. And I've seen some people float out different things, including a report from Tim Healy that the Mets like the idea of a platoon at first base featuring Jeff McNeil and free agent first baseman Paul Goldschmidt. Again, I like Paul Goldschmidt. He actually probably overachieved whatever expectations Yankee fans had for him last year. The Mets' pivot can't be, hey, we're not going to re-sign a forever Met in Pete Alonso, and we're going to have a platoon of Jeff McNeil and Paul Goldschmidt at first base. That doesn't make any sense. So I don't quite understand what exactly I'm supposed to have confidence in with David Stearns. The first year he was here, Billy Epler was the architect of that team for the most part, and they went all the way to the NLCS. Last year, all his moves blew up in his face, and the Mets missed the playoffs in a league where everyone makes the playoffs. And so far this offseason, and I, once again, fully acknowledge the offseason is far from being over, but I'm not sold on you're a better baseball team by moving off of the offense you got from Brandon Nimmo and bringing in Marcus Semien, who's several years older and has been on the decline. I don't care how good defensively he is at second base. And the way that people discuss Pete Alonso's defense, like he's the worst first baseman ever, I've seen that now kind of be put out there by people trying to defend the Mets' stance here. And that, to me, is ridiculous. So I don't know what exactly the plan is for the Mets. But again, I struggle to think that there's somehow a better baseball team without Alonso being on their team going forward. And if the last couple of years of that contract ended up not aging well, don't you do that for a forever Met? Right? The famous Don LaGreca rant about Ed Kranepool being the only forever Met. Obviously, it was supposed to be David Wright, but he got hurt. I really thought Alonso would be different. And when you have an owner like Cohen who grew up a Met fan, and Stearns who apparently grew up a Met fan too, I figured if it meant having to go the extra year to keep Alonso, they would do it. And obviously, they didn't even make the guy an offer. They never wanted him. And the only reason he was on the team this past year is because teams weren't going to give him the long-term deal a year ago. Part of it because he had the qualifying offer attached to him, which means there was a draft pick assigned to him, to any team that signed him. And it got to a point where I think the booing at Mets Fan Fest last year, directed at Stearns, kind of forced Steve Cohen's hand to step in and re-sign Pete. But I was watching the MLB Network yesterday, and Ron Darling was on the MLB Network set at the winter meetings right after the Alonso signing happened. And he was stunned like every Met fan. And he said something that is incredibly true and remains true until we see what the Mets want to do to try and replace the offensive production they had from Alonso. You gave Juan Soto the largest contract of all time for any professional athlete. And Juan Soto is going to be walked 150-plus times now. Why would you pitch to Juan Soto? Who's protecting him in the lineup? And again, I struggle to find the player that's out there, even if it's Kyle Tucker or Bellinger, that's going to be able to make up for the production the Mets have gotten rid of between Alonso and now Nimmo. Not to mention the fact, I don't trust Devin Williams. I didn't mind him as a setup guy, but now it seems like the more that days go on here and more big-time relievers sign elsewhere, the latest being Suarez, for those of you just tuning in, Robert Suarez to the Braves on a 3-year deal. I struggle to find what exactly this master plan is. And I don't know if there's anyone in New York sports right now with more pressure on them than the president of baseball operations for the Mets, David Stearns. And again, I withhold final judgment till I see what the Mets roster looks like when they head to spring training in late February. But I don't see how you're a better team by trying to nickel and dime your way to a better roster overall. I struggle with it. I struggle to come up with what their plan's going to be that is going to make this team that much better. It's not like Alonso and Diaz were the reason why the Mets failed last year. Again, the opinion I've seen from some, they were awesome Mets, but we never won with them, so I'm fine doing something different. They were two of the few players who held up their end of the bargain in trying to help your team win. It's not their fault that the president of baseball operations surrounded those players with Jose Siri, Frankie Montas, Cedric Mullins, Ryan Stanek, Helsley. The trade deadline that Stearns had was an abomination. That's why they ultimately collapsed in the second half. Should the Yankees trade Judge because they never won with him? Right? That's the same logic. It doesn't make any sense. 800-919-3776. Jake Asman in for Michael K.
No Michael K.
We're going to be joined by Dan Orlovsky coming up in his weekly spot on the K Show at 1:30. Orlovsky this morning mentioned the Jets as a team that should inquire about Joe Burrow. We're doing this again, people. Burrow sounded depressed at his weekly press conference yesterday, so people are speculating about his future. And could the Jets be a team for Joey B? So we'll talk about that with Dan and get his thoughts. But we start, of course, with baseball. Mets, no Alonso, no Diaz, but they did post a tweet today. I don't know how many people saw this, that 2026 spring training tickets are now on sale. So, if you're dying to watch the New York Mets in Port St. Lucie, I want you to know that you can purchase your spring training tickets today. A very appropriately timed tweet for that to come out today. That the comments were not negative whatsoever about the state of affairs for the franchise. 800-919-3776. Jake Asman in for Michael K. Let's get to some calls. Let's start it off with Javier in Queens, who's first up on the K Show today. Javier, what do you got for us?
Hey, what's going on, Jake? Thanks for taking the call, as always. Jake, I believe you're a Seinfeld fan, correct?
Oh, big Seinfeld fan, absolutely.
So this Mets free agency reminds me of that episode where Elaine finds, the Bizarro version of Jerry, George, and Kramer. It's like Devin Williams is the Bizarro Edwin Diaz, and Goldschmidt is the potential Bizarro Alonso. So I'm thinking, for Nimmo, they're going to go out and get Mike Talkman, right, to fill out this Bizarro version of the team from last year. I just don't understand what the Mets are doing. And I thought last year there was, with the signing of Soto, I thought there was the potential of it becoming kind of like A-Rod with Texas. And every day that passes since they've signed him, it's looking more and more like that. I mean, there's plenty of room to maneuver, but, it's borderline embarrassing, the signing of Soto and then everything that's come afterwards. It's like a calamity of errors, and I hate to dump on them. You know what? I don't hate to dump on the Mets. It's quite fun, but it's just it is quite embarrassing. The Yankees have done nothing. They look inept, and the Mets are making them look like geniuses, which is kind of funny.
Javier, appreciate the call. There's one name that you mentioned, or you didn't mention in there if you want to do the full Bizarro Yankee bit. Luke Weaver's still out there. If the Mets want to try and add another, big-time high-leverage arm a year after they signed Clay Holmes, now they signed what's his name, David Williams earlier. I mean, you could sign Luke Weaver.
You know what?
He's out there. It's odd. Again, I don't want to completely say that the Mets can't be a better baseball team, but I've seen some, maybe it's just because you're a fan, this is what we do. We try to rationalize, we try to grasp for any hopium we could find, just trying to justify the Mets not retaining Alonso and Diaz. And I for the life of me, I don't see how you're a better baseball team without these guys. And I get it. Maybe the Alonso contract the last year or so is not great, but the guy plays every day. He's a forever Met. You made a huge deal over the fact he broke the franchise record for home runs. This is a guy that if he stayed his whole career in Queens, his number's getting retired one day. That doesn't matter to ownership. That doesn't matter to Stearns, who claims to have grown up a Met fan. And it's not like you're reaching. Alonso has proven to be a phenomenal baseball player. I don't get it. Justin in Queens, next up on the K Show with Jake Asman in for Michael. Hello, Justin.
Hey, what's going on, Jake? Jake, first, before I get started, I just want to say that I met you in Tampa at the Jet Fan meetup. You were on your way out, and you came over to my table, said hello to me and my son. You're very nice, and that was the highlight of our trip, even though the game sucked after that.
Well, Justin, let's be honest. That had to be the highlight of the trip because the game was so god-awful, so by default, me saying hello to you had to be the best part.
It was so bad. I got pictures of yours. It's actually, I'll tweet them at you later. But to Stearns, these Met fans, I'm in a bunch of Mets chats, right, with Met fans, supposed Met fans, and the blind faith in David Stearns is mind-boggling. I keep asking these guys the same thing. What has this guy done to make you confident that he can build a team that can rival the Dodgers? You mentioned it earlier. Every move he made last year stunk. We're 2 wins away from the World Series. We get Juan Soto, and he comes back with Montas and Canning and Kranick and Siri and Jared Young, and now this year he's stripping the team down. Seriously, I mean, everyone was, he's so smart. He went to Harvard. He must be smarter than everyone on the planet because no one can figure out what this guy is doing. But seriously, what has he done to make you believe that he's going to field a team that can fight with the Dodgers? And one other thing, there's no way we can be better next year when you lost the best closer in the game. How could you be better? How could you be better? And like you said, and these guys say, well, you haven't won with Alonso and Nimmo. Like you said, the Yankees haven't won with Judge. Are they trading him? Are they letting him go? That makes no sense.
Justin, good call, man. Great to meet you in Tampa. Appreciate the kind words. That's the thing I struggle with. Like, again, I'm not sitting here telling you that David Stearns doesn't have a plan. He very well might. I'd imagine he does. But I don't know why there's some Met fans out there that have blind faith in the guy. I mean, what did he win in Milwaukee? Again, he benefited from being in the National League Central. That division stinks. You get to play the Pirates. You get to play the Reds. You get to play the Cubs. You play a lot of bad teams in that division. And they never won anything. So I don't quite get Stearns has a plan and he's building it his way. You're not a better baseball team without Edwin Diaz and Pete Alonso. And the whole point of having Cohen is that you could always overpay and it won't hurt you in the big picture. It's not like a bad contract would prevent the Mets from being able to make other moves like it would for a mid-market team. And I just figured the value of Alonso being a forever Met, that would be appealing to ownership to basically step up and say, we're not letting this guy go. He's coming off a phenomenal season as well. And the issues for the Mets last year was the rotation and the pen. Yes, they struggled to hit with runners in scoring position. That was a big problem. But you know what? Pete was excellent in that department. He wasn't the problem. 800-919-3776. Moose in Jamaica up next on the K Show with Jake Asman in for Michael. Moose, what do you got for us?
What up, Jake? By the way, best last name of all time.
My man.
Shout out to Javier. We went to college together. He's a bit of a party animal. Also a genius. He studied astrophysics. Smart guy. Now teaches. Makes a lot of bread. Tutors on the side. We have to go out for a beer one time. So one time at these remotes, I got to stay long enough to get he has to get my new number, so we go out. But quickly on the Mets, I felt they should have kept Pete. It was imperative to the reasons you mentioned, but I have a question according to what has been tweeted out by that reporter about the platoon situation at first. Do you see the Mets with David Stearns' small market mentality, at least with not overwhelming, must-sign, can't-miss, like absolute dynamite free agents that would change their franchise for eons of time available? Maybe Cody Bellinger, maybe Kyle Tucker, but they're on the plus side of 30. So that being said, do you see him working with what he has more than bringing in new players as opposed to totally reforming it and also blowing it up at the same time, using more prospects? And quickly on the Yankees, I agree with Michael. I feel they should get Fernando Tatis, and if you can, take on Machado's contract. They're the missing pieces to us hitting in the postseason. I give up anybody and everybody but Judge, Cole, and Freed. Whoever they want, they can have. Thanks for taking my call.
Moose, I appreciate it. I don't think Machado's a possibility. I like the idea of Fernando Tatis because he could give you some play in the outfield and the shortstop position if the Yankees ever wake up and realize that the Anthony Volpe thing is not going to happen here. No matter how many times they try and force it down our throats, it is not going to work. I'm not a Volpe believer. If you listen to me fill in for Michael, you know that. I'd much rather Tatis. And if the Padres are trying to unload the salary, I think it makes sense, whereas Machado's 33 years old. So have already seen the best of what Manny Machado is as a player. I'd rather take the chance of Fernando Tatis Jr., who signed through 2034. I get that, but would be going into his age 27 season. So right in his prime. That, to me, would make more sense. I don't know how realistic that is, though. I've heard Michael discuss it, and I love the idea of it. But I haven't seen any evidence to suggest that the Padres and Yankees have even entertained talks at this point. As far as what the Mets' plan is, if they're just banking on their prospects to take a step forward, that to me is not enough. That's not why you have Steve Cohen as your owner. You know, the Mets want to be the Dodgers, right? Andrew Friedman used to be the Rays GM many years ago. But he took the small market approach and combined it with having the Dodgers salary, and they mix and match. They have a great farm system. They also spent money on stars. And they retained their own star power, too, in Los Angeles. That's why I for the life of me, don't understand how you're a better baseball team without Pete Alonso protecting Juan Soto in the lineup. Because to quote Ron Darling yesterday, unless they get a legit bat signed, why wouldn't you walk Juan Soto every plate appearance this year? There's no Nimmo now. There's no Alonso. Even if you sign a Kyle Tucker or Cody Bellinger, I don't know if that's enough to make up for the production that you now lost from your lineup. When offensively, that wasn't your big issue a year ago. It's still starting pitching. You know, is there a Tariq Skubal trade coming? That's what I'd want to see. You know, is there that sort of move? Freddie Peralta from Milwaukee, is he a guy that the Mets could get in some sort of trade? They need a bona fide starter. They need a legit playoff starter. I understand you feel pretty good about some of these young kids they called up at the end of the season, but going into the year, just banking on unproven major league starters to shoulder the load for your rotation is a huge risk. Julian in Virginia, up next on the K Show. What's up, Julian?
Hey, greetings, Jake. How are you?
What's going on, Julian?
Not too much. I have two quick things for you. The first one is I wanted to get your opinion on a trade rumor because I saw that both the Yankees and Mets are interested in the Rockies' Brenton Doyle because as someone who played against him in high school and with him during summer ball in college, I do believe he has the makeup and personality to play in New York. And then the last quick thing is what are your thoughts on the Yankees actually making a Rule 5 draft pick? Because it's been since 2011 since they've done that.
I saw that. Yeah, I don't really, to be honest with you, have any real strong thoughts on that other than I hope it works out with the player they selected there. As far as your first point, I mean, Brenton Doyle's a great defensive outfielder. I'm kind of good on making deals with the Rockies, though, after the Ryan McMahon deal. Like, how many former Rockies do the Yankees need to bring into their team? Like, McMahon, as of now, is going to be the third baseman. And I do think there's more pop maybe in his bat over the course of a full year at Yankee Stadium. That could be a decent play for one more year. But I don't know. Brendan Doyle, like, that's cool that you played high school ball with him, the caller said, right? But I'm good on him. For those curious, he hit last year 15 home runs, 57 RBIs, and batted .233. He's a defensive outfielder who put up those numbers in Colorado. So what's he going to do away from Colorado? Right? I'm good. The Yankees need to retain either Bellinger or act like the Yankees and sign Kyle Tucker, who's 3 years younger. That's what they need to do. Will they do it? I don't know. Or will they make that surprise trade that we've been floating out there for weeks? Right? Fernando Tatis Jr., as we discussed previously. That's the kind of the question you have Let's do one more call before we get to Dan Orlovsky coming up here. Mike in the Bronx is next on the K Show. What's up, Mike?
Hey, Jake. First of all, thank you, because I really, really, really got tired of hearing everybody today trying to explain why somehow this makes sense when it does not make sense. Like, you can't make it make sense. Hello?
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike.
Oh, sorry. I didn't hear you. Yeah. So, like, what it feels like is happening to me is it feels like you found a really good chef from a mom and pop burger shop in Milwaukee who had to make what do he could with grade D beef and moldy bread, and it was amazing somehow. And you brought him to Peter Luger's, and he said, throw out all that great meat, watch what I can do with chopped beef, right? Like, you gave him all these good players. He's got Pete Alonso. He's got Brandon Nimmo. He's got Edwin Diaz. These guys are already here. They're already good. Those are not the guys you cost us last season. They were all good, right? They did well. And he's like, no. I don't need those guys. I'm going to let go of those guys and let me prove to you that I can do it with lesser talent or something. I don't know. I don't understand what his angle is. But you're right. There's no way you're going to tell me we're going to be better without Pete Alonso. Because even if you get Cody Bellinger, I always get that wrong. He's not better at the plate. He's a better fielder, obviously, but he's not replacing Pete's production. He doesn't put up those numbers on a yearly basis. And Kyle Tucker is the most overrated free agent in my memory. Look at what he's done. He had a half a great season in Houston. And off of that, everybody thinks he's a superstar. He's hit 30 home runs twice. He's never hit more than 30. And I know home runs aren't everything, but his OPS is not 900 or anything. So I don't understand why, even if you bring in either of those guys, you're not replacing Pete Alonso. Those are guys you add to Pete Alonso if you're going to try to get over the hump.
Well, Mike, especially good call, and especially with Bellinger, right, who wants reportedly a 6 or a 7 year deal. At that point, why not just match the 5 years that the Orioles gave to Pete Alonso? Because, well, yes, Bellinger's obviously an elite defender. I'd rather just keep the homegrown Met if the pivot's going to be 31-year-old Cody Bellinger rather than just retain 31-year-old Pete Alonso, who wants to be a Met and has been a forever Met, and Met fans love the guy and wouldn't fault Stearns or Cohen if the last couple of years of the Alonso deal didn't age great because he's your guy. So that's my argument. Dan Orlovsky is coming up next in his weekly spot here on the K Show. No Michael K. Jake Asman in for Michael till 3. A lot to do. The Joe Burrow speculation is out there. We'll get Dan's thoughts on that and much more about the Jets and the Giants from Orlovsky. That's next on the K Show here on 880 ESPN New York, the ESPN New York app, and the ESPN New York YouTube channel.
PC Richard & Son gives you their holiday price guarantee. If the price goes lower now through December 24th, they will match it so your price is protected. Only at PC Richard & Son.
To help those who want to be helped but may not be able to afford it.
That's what PGA Tour winner Grayson Murray had envisioned for a foundation before he sadly took his own life at just 30 years old. His parents channeled their grief into creating the Grayson Murray Foundation, carrying out his vision to help those struggling with mental health and addiction. To donate and learn more, visit GraysonMurrayFoundation.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN. That's ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN. ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN.
ZipRecruiter.
When equipment breaks down and operations come to a halt, every single second counts. So why is your maintenance team spending 60% of their time doing anything but turning wrenches? MaintainX is the AI-powered maintenance and asset management system that helps your team get back to actually fixing breakdowns. No more searching for manuals. No more hunting down parts. No more drowning in paperwork. With Maintain X, your team can access manuals from anywhere, create new procedures in minutes, and turn voice notes into clear and complete work order feedback. What used to take hours now only takes minutes. Keep your operations moving, not your paperwork. Join over 11,000 maintenance teams that are already fixing more and filing less. Try Maintain X for free today. Go to maintainx.com/AI. That's maintain in the letter x.com/AI.
Discover a driving experience crafted to inspire. At Garden City Mazda, exceptional design and sophisticated performance come together. During the Mazda More to Move You sales event, lease the 2025 Mazda CX-5 for $229 a month for 33 months. Or the 2025 Mazda CX-50 for $239 a month for 33 months. Both with $49.95 due at signing. It's the Mazda More to Move You sales event at Garden City Mazda. At Garden City Mazda, expect the exceptional.
Dave Rothenberg here to tell you about my friends at Bath Fitter. Now, they converted my kids' bathtub to a shower and did an incredible, really an unbelievable job. They offer all types of custom bath renovations, including their unique PermaFit solution for a watertight fit done in just one day. Durable and easy to clean with no demo or mess and lower cost than a standard replacement. And a lifetime guarantee. Right now, no money down, no payments, no interest until 2027. So start designing your bath today like we did at bathfitter.com. There's only one Bath Fitter.
Getting more as a MyLowe's Pro Rewards member is easier than ever with the Lowe's app. Download it today and earn 500 points the first time you log in. Plus, your digital wallet helps you scan, save, earn, and access what you need to manage it all in one place. Download the Lowe's app and take advantage of your Pro benefits today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid 12/1/25 to 1/7/26. Offer valid for first login per organization only. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Additional restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms for more details. Subject to change.
The holidays are rolling in, and if men in your life are struggling with their holiday wish list, tell them to add Manscaped to make gift-giving easy, fun, and completely stress-free this year. From the beard hedger to the lawnmower trimmer, Manscaped's precision tools keep you looking sharp, feeling confident, and ready for every event and celebration all season long. These aren't just stocking stuffers, they're upgrades for your daily routine. And right now at Target, you can save 20% on the Lawnmower 4 and 3 kits, Handyman, and the beard hedger. Hurry up, supplies won't last long.
Jake Asman in for Michael. The ESPN New York holiday party is almost here. This show, The Michael K. Show, and Don Hahn and Rosenberger bringing the holiday cheer at your mother's house in Garden City Park, Long Island. Tomorrow, that is December 12th, we're once again collecting unwrapped toy donations this year to benefit the Garden of Dreams Foundation. It all kicks off at 1 p.m. tomorrow, December 12th, at your mother's house. For more info and to purchase VIP access, check out the ESPN New York app, brought to you by Amazon Pickup, Security Dodge, and Spiked Aid, made for the big city social stamina. Joining us right now in his weekly spot on the K Show is ESPN NFL analyst Dan Orlovsky. Dan, always good to catch up. Thanks for coming on today.
Jay, good to be with you, bud. How you doing?
I'm hanging in. So I want to start with the Joe Burrow conversation because I saw that press conference yesterday where he's talking about how he wants to have fun. He said there's a lot going on right now. He sounded, I don't know, he sounded almost depressed, just kind of just listening to his words. Your thoughts on those comments and some of the speculation that it's now that's kind of out there that, hey, this is a guy that maybe would request a trade this offseason?
Yeah, it certainly sounds like the beginning of the end. Joe is not this freewheeling, say whatever type of guy. And he's a very thoughtful, in his own words, a little bit introverted person. So for him to say it and be willing to say it publicly is, making it very clear, like this is not okay what's been happening. 3 years in a row of not being in the playoffs, partly because the defense, partly because he's been beat up so much he's missed time. And so I think he's probably coming to the reality of where his contract or his career stands. This is not a guy that's in his third year. I mean, he's into his seventh year, I believe. And so, I think that Joe is looking at how does this get better and can it get better now? And if not, yeah, I do think it's going to get to a point where he's going to go, yeah, I don't want to be here anymore. I want to go somewhere else. And I don't know if it's this offseason, but it certainly feels like the beginning of the end.
He's got a full no trade, but do you think that the Bengals would even consider moving him? Like, how would it actually work if he says he wants out, but Cincinnati basically says, we're not moving you, you're Joe Burrow, we need you?
Yeah, I've gotten to the point in that league where when that high leverage player makes it very clear that he's done with that place, he's done with that place. Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett, but Myles ended up going back. But I just think that Joe's a player that he is capable if he wants to dig in. The Bengals' hands may be tied. Once again, we saw it years ago with Carson Palmer. And so I just think that as a quarterback who's kind of experienced him and himself and in the getting beat up on a consistent basis world, he's aware that he has to win to kind of get into that upper echelon as far as in the public perception. And if he doesn't believe it's going to happen in Cincinnati, I do think he can dig himself in and kind of tie the Bengals' hands.
So I'll ask you from a Jet perspective, the follow-up, Dan, because the Jets have the 5 first-round picks now over the next 2 years. They obviously have a huge need at the quarterback spot. If you're the Jets, are you inquiring about Burrow, and do you think Burrow would even entertain the idea of playing for the Jets?
I'm absolutely inquiring about it. I'd give you all 5 first-round picks today. And some other players. I mean, Joe's sensational. And so that's an easy yes if I was from the Jets perspective. Would Joe consider it? I don't know. I think there's a lot of parts that have to be answered in regards to that. What does he believe in the general manager and his history? Who's the coach? What's the offensive philosophy? What's the support around him when it comes to a defense and an offensive line, something he's not certainly had maybe as a defense early on, but not an offensive line. So, yeah, I mean, I think that from the team perspective, that's the easy answer. But from the player perspective, there's probably a lot that he would have to check off of comfort-wise because the Jets don't have necessarily the best history of winning and or quarterback play.
That's my big thing, Dan, and I'd love it. But, I mean, is Joe Burrow going to waive his no trade to play on the MetLife playing surface for the rest of his career for however many years he has left, and then play for an owner who's certainly come under fire in Woody Johnson when there's so many criticisms of Mike Brown, the Bengals owner? It's tough for me to picture him doing it, and I'm a Jet fan, and I'd love nothing more than for him to be the Jet quarterback for the next decade.
Sure, yeah, that's all fair. There's teams I could sit here and tell you, well, if you're the Raiders and the Jets, no-brainer inquire, but the player has to sign off on it, and neither organization has to, maybe Brady and a vision. But again, I think there's just a lot of parts. The New Orleans Saints, yeah, but does he like Kellen Moore's offense? Does he want to be in that system? And then there's teams like if I'm Minnesota or the Rams, I'm starting to entertain that. So I think that as much as there's a lot of different teams that you could sit there and justify the yes for, it's all going to come down to how dug in does Joe want to be, and then where does Joe ideally want to go.
Dan Orlovsky is our guest, weekly spot on the K Show. Jake Asman in for Michael till 3. Dan, as far as the Jets on the field this week, it looks like Brady Cook, the UDFA out of Missouri, is going to make his starting debut against the Jaguars. Did you get a chance to see any of his performance when he came in down 21-0 in the first quarter Sunday? And you said you did. So can you kind of assess what you saw from him and just how difficult of a spot it is for a UDFA to have to come in there?
Yeah, you could definitely tell nerves early on. Some fumbled snaps, misdirection, going the wrong way, playing far too sped up. I thought he settled down at some point throughout that game. It was also a blowout, so you're getting a little bit of a different defensive style. The interception down essentially on the – yeah, it's hard. I mean, this is, not the most talented offense. AD's been, had some nice bright spots. This offensive line has been up and down this year, no G-dubs. So it's hard, but that's the reality of being an undrafted free agent. You're going to have, like, the smallest opportunity of the smallest window to try to prove that you might belong somewhere, and that's going to be the challenge to him. And, there were some throws that you're like, and he moved decently, but it's a big challenge.
Big picture, because this is all any Jet fan is talking about right now, just the quarterbacks in the draft. I know you have been high at various times on Fernando Mendoza and Ty Simpson and Dante Moore. If you're power ranking kind of your early feel for the upcoming draft class, is Mendoza your top guy? How would you assess this class coming out?
Yeah. Obviously, no evaluation done yet, but I love what I've seen from Ty Simpson from Alabama and Mendoza. that doesn't mean it won't change once you dive into their film. You hear things about these young men as far as staying or going. I've heard Simpson is more than likely going to stay. Again, that could change tomorrow, or who I'm hearing it from could be full of baloney. It sounds like the other two are more than likely coming out. I think Mendoza as a player is very intriguing. There's a lot of skill set that you like about him, and the way that he's played in some really big moments here down the stretch has been impressive. I don't know anything about the person. I understand the post-game interviews are quirky and different. There's Kirk Cousins vibes to it, so you got to figure that out because that is a part of the process. And then Dante's very smooth. He's got a really good presence in the pocket. And there's a lot to like about his game, but I think really, like, once you get into that world of top 5, top 10 pick, it's obviously the type of guy you're getting rather than just the physical talent.
It felt like for the longest time, a lot of people were saying that Dante Moore would stay in school, but every mock I've seen, Dan, has him basically going in the top 10, top 5, and with the amount of money that you get guaranteed if you sign your rookie deal, $50 million right there, fully guaranteed, why would anyone stay? I don't care how much NIL money you might be offered. So, like, if Ty Simpson is projected to be a first-round pick, why would he stay, right? Like, I just feel like the money might be too much to pass up.
Yeah, these young men are getting a lot of money in NIL, man. And it's not like that top 10 pick isn't going to necessarily vanish as long as you believe that people around you in another year of college will help you play well. So I agree. I think a lot of it, too, is, who's got those top 5 picks? Yeah, there's a couple teams that have 2 first-round picks next year. How likely are they to try to be aggressive to go get somebody? So there's a lot of money in college football. There's a lot of money when you're being a top 10 pick. I think for a lot of these guys, it's also trying to make sure that who is the best place to go to get to that second contract we know is significantly greater than even that top 10 first pick.
Speaking of college, what was your reaction to Michigan firing Sharon Moore, and where do they even go this late in the coaching carousel here to try and find a replacement?
Yeah, obviously surprising, and there's a lot of variables attached to that that are less than or significantly more important than college football, right? So where do they go? I'm of the belief that time nor contract extensions cannot matter. You're Michigan. You are one of the 5 big brands in college and certainly college football. I don't care if Clark Lee just signed and Mike Elko just signed. The first call I make is Kalen DeBoer at Alabama. If there's any interest, the answer is never going to be no then. If there's a mutual interest, and even the slightest, that is my job to make sure that he's the next head coach. And if he says no, then my next call is to Clark Lee, and my next call is to Mike Elko. I really don't care. These guys are the best coaches in college football, along with Dan Lanning and Kirby Smart. And so those are the calls I'm making. I have to a conference that I have to coach against Ryan Day and Dan Lanning and Kurt Cignetti. If I don't get somebody that I think gives us, at least a fighting chance against those guys head to head, then I'll always be behind. That's my message to Michigan. Right now, you're at best fourth in that conference when it comes to head coaches, and probably 5th with Lincoln Riley at SC. And so I don't think you can just hire anyone.
It's going to be fascinating. Dan, really appreciate your time. Good to catch up. Thanks for doing the spot today.
Be well.
Dan Orlovsky, ESPN NFL analyst, with us there in his weekly spot on the K Show. 800-919-3776. More on the Joe Burrow conversation when we come back. We'll let you listen in to what he actually said yesterday, and you interpret whether or not you believe Joe Burrow would actually ask out and which teams would make sense for Burrow. Dan Orlovsky, brought to you by Boost Mobile. And don't overpay. Get unlimited talk, text, and data for $25 a month forever, for life, for real. Switch now at boostmobile.com. After 30 gigabytes, you may experience slower speeds. Lots still to do. Jake Asman with you, in for Michael K. here on 880 ESPN New York, the ESPN New York app, and the ESPN New York YouTube channel.
The Hess truck's back and it's better than ever. Roaring engines this year. Hess race cars are here.
The Hess stock car racers are loaded with lights, sounds, and a powerful racing motor. Only at HessToyTruck.com. Free shipping and batteries included.
Hey, New York and New Jersey, Boost Mobile has an unlimited talk, text, and data plan that's only $25 a month forever, meaning you'll only ever pay $25 a month for the rest of your life. Who wouldn't want unlimited wireless when it only costs $25 a month forever? If you don't, you must be one of those people who enjoy overpaying for their phone plan. $25 a month forever is truly as good as it gets. So go online and switch now at boostmobile.com. After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Mobile Unlimited plan.
Thursday with Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. Will the Yankees or Mets make a big splash at the winter meetings?
We didn't spend $22 million a year on Edwin Diaz. We didn't spend the money on Pete Alonso. So what are we going to do instead of that? I think the Yankees are one of the teams that might be reacting to this labor uncertainty, where they feel like, well, we don't really know what's going to happen, so let's just wait and see.
Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg today at 3 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube. Not sure what to bet on today? Army versus Navy, college basketball, soccer, hockey? Join one of the nation's top sports betting analysts, Joe Wiz, on The Fine Line Saturday at 8 a.m. In the NFL, Buffalo takes on New England, and the Giants are actually favored at home. Will they cover? Follow The Wiz on Instagram at Joe Wiz Sports. It's the best bet in town. The Fine Line with The Wiz Saturday at 8 a.m. Be ready to win.
New York Lottery's holiday scratch-off games are the perfect gift for everyone on your list.
Like me, your Aunt Jules. I told you I didn't need a gift this year, but I secretly really want one.
Or me, your neighbor Frank. I hope you didn't forget I'm coming to your holiday party tonight.
Or me. Why does no one ever think of the voiceover guy? Anyway, New York Lottery's holiday scratch-off games have more winners and top prizes up to $5,000. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
If you've been injured on a construction site, then you need a lawyer who knows New York's unique labor laws. At the Parisman Firm, they have decades of experience handling construction accident cases and a proven track record of delivering huge results. Their team has already recovered nearly $1 billion for hardworking New Yorkers. From scaffold accidents to slip and falls and equipment failures, they've got your back. Call the Parisman Firm now at 718-WORKERS. That's right, 718-WORKERS, because your case is their cause. Get the justice you deserve today.
Friends, it's football season, the best time of the year. You should be out there tailgating, cheering on your team, and enjoying every Sunday. But if you're dealing with neck pain, back pain, sciatica, or nerve pain, even getting off the couch can feel like a challenge. You don't have to live like that. There's help. Dr. Jay Shaw at Sandwell Pain is New Jersey's top pain specialist. He's Ivy League trained, double board certified, and is dedicated to helping you get back in the game. Here's what makes the difference. No surgery, no scars, no long recovery, no pain medication. Just precise, non-surgical image-guided procedures that deliver real results. Dr. Shaw treats neck pain, back pain, joint pain, migraines, nerve pain, and sciatica with a plan that's customized for you. Same-day and next-day appointments are available, and with offices in Woodbridge, Livingston, and Inglewood, relief is always close. So don't let pain keep you on the sidelines this season. Visit SandwellPain.com to call, text, or book online. Most major insurances are accepted. That's SandwellPain.com. Relief is closer than you think, and it starts today.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. All investments involve risk, including loss of principal. Options, futures, and crypto trading carry significant risk and may not suit all investors. Securities offered through Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Futures trading is offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Crypto offered through Robinhood Crypto LLC, NMLS ID 1702840, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Portfolio management offered by Robinhood Strategies, an SEC registered advisor.
Too much on your list this season? Get 50% off your first 6 months of payroll at gusto.com/radio. Gusto saves you 2 days every month on payroll, taxes, and compliance. So you can go from making payroll to making gingerbread houses, checking your books to decking the halls, spreadsheets to snow angels. Switch before the end of the year and there's no need to transfer payroll history. Now that's a reason to be merry. Choose a future with Gusto and get more time for what matters. For a limited time, get 50% off your first 6 months at gusto.com/radio.
ESPN New York is throwing a holiday party you don't want to miss. Join us this Friday at your mother's house in Garden City. We'll be broadcasting the Michael K. Show live from 1 to 3, followed by Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg from 3 to 7, all while supporting a great cause. Bring a toy to benefit the Garden of Dreams Foundation and help make the season brighter for local kids in need. It's the ESPN New York Holiday Party this Friday. Brought to you by Spiked Aid, Security Dodge, Amazon Pickup, and ESPN New York.
Jake Asman in for Michael K.
No Michael K.
Time right now for Game Time, which is brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, because when it's game time, it's Tully time. 7 p.m., the red-hot New York Islanders host the Ducks at UBS Arena, and the Devils host the Lightning at the Prudential Center. Tullamore Dew, the original triple distilled, triple blended, and triple cask matured Irish whiskey. Be sure to grab a Tullamore Dew or try the new Tullamore Dew Honey during today's action. Glasses up to enjoying Tullamore Dew responsibly. So, light night for the locals in this town. However, it's not on the Reed, but there is a Thursday night game tonight. And maybe because it's not a great game, that's why it wasn't on the Reed. But I'll tell you anyway, because I'm a football junkie. Falcons and Bucks tonight. For those of you in the fantasy football playoffs, you'll be locked in. Emeka Ibuka, if you have him on your team, he's supposed to be back tonight for Tampa, which is big. So Tampa 7-6. They lost last week to the Saints, which was a terrible, terrible loss for them. Tampa 7-6, Carolina 7-6. So the division is going to come down to one of those teams. So Atlanta at 4-9, basically trying to play spoiler. Kirk Cousins versus Baker Mayfield tonight, baby. Al Michaels might be awake for it. Maybe not. But that's on Prime later this evening. 800-919-3776. So we've been talking about Joe Burrow. We got Dan Orlovsky's thoughts on that earlier. For those who missed it, here's a little of what Burrow said yesterday, fueling some conversation that he might ask out in Cincinnati.
No, it certainly doesn't change my desire to win. You know, if I want to keep doing this, I have to have fun doing it. You know, I've been through a lot, and if it's not fun, then what am I doing it for? So that's the mindset I'm trying to bring to the table. I'm not sure there was a singular moment or of time. It's just a reflection on a lot of things that I've done and been through in my career. I think I've been through more than most, and it's certainly not easy on the brain or the body. So just trying to have fun doing it again.
And then one more from Burrow, talking about how he has a lot going on.
You seem there's something on your mind. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it seemed frustrated.
There's just a lot of things going on right now.
Football related, personally?
All the above.
I mean, look, he's got a full no trade clause, and I'm not convinced that the Bengals would trade him. But if he really wants to make things ugly, he could. I think it'd be a little bit of a bad look after he basically strong-armed the ownership group there into paying his two receivers. And then a year later, he's going to get up and request a trade when he's the one who got hurt this year and missed most of the season. But if we've reached a point where, like, the football quarterback is like the superstar in basketball where they could basically make a trade demand and get their way, then, yeah, obviously there's going to be a ton of teams that are going to be interested in Joe Burrow. Not every team has what it would take or would be willing to trade what it would take, you'd imagine, to get Burrow. The last time we saw a quarterback of this magnitude get traded was Deshaun Watson. Now, obviously that deal has aged horrifically for Cleveland, but at the time, Deshaun Watson was coming off a 30-touchdown, 4,000-yard season with the Texans, and he ended up being traded for 3 first-round picks. The Jets have 5 first-round picks over the next 2 years. They have 2 second-round picks this year. They have a lot of picks. If you're the Jets, do you call? Absolutely. But why would Burrow waive his no-trade clause to play on the MetLife playing surface? Why would he waive the no-trade clause to go to a team that is currently owned by Woody Johnson, whose latest public comments were to lambast the former starting quarterback for the Jets? Right? Like, I have a tough time picturing Burrow being like, yep, I want to leave Cincinnati because I'm not having fun. I can't win. And then they go to the team that has the longest playoff drought in professional sports. Even if you want to argue from a football standpoint, hey, Burrow on the Jets could work because you have 2 legitimate offensive tackles in Armand Membu and Olu Fashanu, a good guard in Joe Tippmann. You do have a number 1 receiver in Garrett Wilson. You have a good running back in Breece Hall if we assume the Jets keep him, which I do think they will. Like, I could put together an argument for why hey, the Jets would make some sense if he wants to be in New York and wear his like weird outfits and go to the Met Gala and get praised for all that. Like, okay. But again, I'm a Jet fan telling you I don't see it. I think the idea of the Jets trading for Burrow, other fans are probably just laughing. Like, no way. He's not going to want to be a Jet. One, he'd have to request a trade. Two, Cincinnati would actually have to trade him. And three, he'd have to waive his no trade to go play for Woody Johnson and the Jets. And it's not like the Jets have like this great, innovative head coach that would do all the selling for Joe Burrow to be convinced. Like, Aaron Glenn's a defensive head coach. Like, I don't know if Joe Burrow's like, yeah, I really want to play for Aaron Glenn. Tanner Engstrand's the offensive coordinator. He's in his first year. That's the guy that Burrow can't wait to go play for. Honestly, I think the team that makes the most sense for Burrow, and they're in the NFC, so maybe there's a path for it happening. If the Vikings are willing to admit they screwed up with J.J. McCarthy, you put Burrow in that offense in Minnesota, wouldn't that be a great fit? You put him in that division now with Jordan Love and Caleb Williams and Jared Goff, that'd be unbelievable. The other team in the NFC people will bring up is San Fran. You know, could we have the Joe Burrow for Brock Purdy type of trade where Cincinnati does get a quarterback back in that deal and they get some picks on top of it, similar to the Goff for Stafford deal years prior? I'm just trying to come up with possible options for Burrow. But if you're the Bengals, I wouldn't trade him. I figure it out. This guy is the best thing to happen to your franchise in decades. He's been to a Super Bowl already. Figure it out. But, again, I know there's Jet fans out there who want Burrow. Who wouldn't? Why would he waive the no trade? The perception of the Jets, I don't know if it's ever been lower. I don't think he would waive the no trade to go play for your organization right now. I think the Jets got to do it the old-fashioned way, which is actually hit on a quarterback in the draft, which I understand seems impossible, but that might be the only way. Speaking on hitting on a quarterback in the draft, there's a mock draft out from Field Yates with us at ESPN that has the Jets and the Giants wheeling and dealing. I want to talk about that, plus more of your calls as we will cover the latest on the MLB hot stove. 24 hours now removed from Pete Alonso leaving the Mets. What's their pivot? More on that in hour two. Nelson Figueroa will be joining us at 2:30. Jake Asman in for Michael K. with you till 3. Then it's Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. Then keep it right here on 880 ESPN New York and the ESPN New York app.
Discover a driving experience crafted to inspire. At Garden City Mazda, exceptional design and sophisticated performance come together. During the Mazda More to Move You sales event, lease the 2025 Mazda CX-5 for $229 a month for 33 months. Or the 2025 Mazda CX-50 for $239 a month for 33 months. Both with $49.95 to its signing. It's the Mazda More to Move You sales event at Garden City Mazda. At Garden City Mazda, expect the exceptional.
It's time to gift, and PC Richard & Son experts will help you find the right gift for everyone on your list. Laptops from HP and Apple, countertop appliances from Cuisinart, GE, Breville, and more. Party speakers from JBL, headphones from Bose, video games like Xbox, PS5, and Arcade One. And we have all the best TVs from Samsung, LG, TCL, and Sony, and the best soundbars to go with them. So get gifting at PC Richard & Son.
New York Presbyterian treats more heart patients than any other hospital in New York. From common to complex conditions, our cardiologists and heart surgeons are pioneers in advanced heart care, leading the way in minimally invasive treatments for faster recovery times. Find a doctor at nyp.org/heart. Stay amazing. New York Presbyterian. New York Presbyterian Hospital based on U.S. News and World Report 2025 to 2026 Cardiology, Heart, and Vascular Surgery Rankings.
Bet 365.
Rich Eisen here, and we're brought to you by Sonos. The holidays sound better with Sonos speakers. Whether it's a movie night that feels larger than life or the roar of the crowd as your team takes the field, Sonos helps create the moments you'll remember. Beautiful design, incredible sound, and effortless control mean you can focus on what matters most, enjoying the season. I love Sonos, and so will you. Discover how easy it is to bring every room to life with incredible sound. Explore Sonos speakers, soundbars, and more at Sonos.com.
Clinton Yates here, and the holidays are upon us, full of gatherings, toasts, and plenty of cheer. And if you're like me, you want every moment to shine. That's why I head to Total Wine & More, where you'll find it all at the lowest prices, from rich whiskeys and smooth tequilas to festive liqueurs and elegant champagnes. And if you're not sure what to grab, their guides will help you find bottles that impress. You'll always find what you love and love what you find, only at Total Wine & More. Spirits not sold in Virginia and North Carolina. Drink responsibly. B21.
880 ESPN, WHSQ, and WCBS-FM HD2, New York. A Good Karma Brands radio station.
Go, Michael! Jake Asman in for Michael, taking you till 3 o'clock. Hope everyone's having a great Thursday. Hey, one thing I wanted to mention, because I got a chance to watch it last night. It aired on ESPN for the first time, the 30 for 30 on the late, great Stuart Scott. Highly recommended for those of you who didn't get a chance to see it. It was great. ESPN did a great job producing that. They had so many different all-time athletes that knew Stuart Scott that were featured in it. Charles Barkley, Shaq, they were great in it. Scott Van Pelt was excellent. Rich Eisen was great. I know he was in our building the other day. So really, really good doc. Definitely recommend it. You know, the 30 for 30s are usually outstanding, and I thought that one yesterday was great for those of you that missed it. Let's get you up to date on the latest with the MLB hot stove. For those of you who have been living under a rock, Pete Alonso is not a Met anymore. Neither is Edwin Diaz. And there was some thought that perhaps the Mets would pivot and sign another big-time reliever in place of Edwin Diaz after they already added Devin Williams. Well, one of those names was Robert Suarez, and about an hour ago, Suarez signed with the Atlanta Braves. So the former Padres closer signs for 3 years and $45 million. So, look, barring, I guess, something unforeseen, I fully expect Devin Williams to be the Mets closer. And that's risky because while he was great in Milwaukee, last year with the Yankees, he was bad for most of it. He was much better as a setupman than he was as the closer. He lost the closer job twice. To be fair to Devin, he did pitch pretty well in the playoffs for the Yankees, so I'll give him credit there. But I would not feel confident in that, and I'm not confident in the David Stearns plan. I fully acknowledge the Mets offseason is far from over, and they're going to make other moves. But there's like a segment of Met fans that are like confident and saying trust in David Stearns and his vision. And I've seen nothing from David Stearns that tells me I have to trust in his vision. He inherited a team that was built by the prior general manager and Billy Epler. And while he made some decent moves that season around the margins, that was not his team. And then last year, all his moves blew up in his face. And I struggled to, again, find how the Mets are a better baseball team without Edwin Diaz and Pete Alonso. Yes, there'll be other moves. But the logic I've seen from some Met fans is, well, they were great Mets, but what did we win with them? Like, that's like me saying the Yankees, look, they haven't won with Judge. Maybe they should get rid of them. Like, your problem is not Pete Alonso and Edwin Diaz. They were two of the few players who held up their end of the bargain. And to lose Diaz, maybe he just didn't want to play for you, but that's where the money is supposed to come in. Like, if the Dodgers are offering 3 years, if you're the Mets, you go to a fourth to keep your guy. That's what I thought having Steve Cohen was supposed to do. With Alonso, I don't quite get it, because I've seen some people speculate that the pivot is going to be to Cody Bellinger. Well, if that's the case, why not keep Pete? Because Bellinger wants a 6 or a 7 year deal, and he's the same age as Alonso. I'd rather keep the homegrown Met, who is durable and has proven that he can handle everything that comes with being the guy on this team. And look, Cody had a great year with the Yankees, but he's not as good of an offensive player as Pete is. Alonso mashes the baseball. And again, so much was made of him breaking the home run record just to let him walk. I can't justify it. And maybe the Mets will end up being a better team this year. But I struggle to see how. Their problems were pitching. Have they made the big move for pitchers yet? No. Yeah, their big move was to try and get better defensively, so you get rid of Brandon Nimmo. You bring in an aging Marcus Semien. And then you replace Diaz with Devin Williams? I'm sorry, I understand you got to be more patient, and we'll give David Stearns a chance to do whatever he is doing here, but I don't see how the Mets are a better baseball team at the end of all this. I think it's going to end up being a big mistake letting these players go, especially Alonso, who's a forever Met, and there's something to be said for that number 20 to be retired someday. I thought that was the whole point of making such a big deal over him breaking the franchise record for home runs. You have to keep him after that. No? I guess not. And again, we talk about Alonso like he's 70 years old. His body's going to break down. How's he going to age? Really? He plays 162 games every year. He's an Iron Man, and he mashes the baseball. And who's protecting Juan Soto in the lineup now? Ron Darling said it best yesterday on the MLB Network. You basically have now signed up for Juan Soto to be walked 150-plus times this year. Why would you pitch to him? Steve Gelbs on SNY yesterday on David Stearns.
I've said this in the past, and I still believe it, that David Stearns is smart, has a plan. We will ultimately see what that plan becomes, but there is no doubt that he is putting extra pressure on himself right now to get it right and to get it right quickly with the departures of some big-time fan favorites. With the way things are going right now, it's hard to even envision what will happen next. Big moves expected to continue as the Mets reshape a roster after one of the most disappointing seasons in Mets history.
Again, the term is reshape the roster. But you got rid of two guys who held up their end of the bargain for said roster. That's what I struggle with. And I'm sensing a theme here, right? You talk about pressure on people in New York sports. David Stearns has squarely put all the pressure on himself. Right, Buster Only?
No matter what happens for the rest of the offseason, the person in Major League Baseball under more pressure than any other is going to be David Stearns, because he better get it right. And look, there's a long way to go in this wintertime. There are, over 100 unsigned relievers. There are outfielders out there. There are trade possibilities out there. So we still don't have the full understanding of what David Stearns' vision is going to be, but he better get it right. Three fan favorites are out the door with, it feels like very distinct decisions when you're talking about, trading Brandon Nimmo and concerns about his athleticism and Edwin Diaz and just coming up short in your bid for him, while you might have thought about building a super bullpen. And now Pete Alonso walks out. As you say, the Mets never made a formal offer because they weren't going to get close to what the Orioles wind up spending, and all of it could work out, but man, if it doesn't, David is going to have a hard time next year.
And he's got to, at the bare minimum, right, make the playoffs. Like, you can't not make the playoffs 2 straight years when there's 3 wild card spots. And again, the reason why the Mets missed the playoffs this past year had nothing to do with the 2 guys that they let walk over the last 48 hours. Or the guy that they traded earlier this offseason to get Marcus Semien. So I don't quite get what the plan is. Maybe there's a trade that we're not seeing. Maybe Tariq Skubal is the big move, right? They need an ace, but then you still have to replace the offensive production you lost in your lineup, even if you add Skubal to your team. Garrett Cole won a Cy Young Award in 2023. The Yankees missed the playoffs that year. Why? Aaron Judge got hurt. They didn't have enough in the offense. They didn't score enough runs. So, yes, there's multiple ways to build your baseball team, but again, I don't understand why there's some Met fans that are giving the benefit of the doubt to Stearns. He's proven nothing to this point. You should be skeptical. Make him prove to you that he knows what he's doing. Not give him the benefit of the doubt that he does. He never won a thing in Milwaukee. Not a thing. All right, he gets the benefit of playing bad teams in the National League Central. I'm not that impressed. And again, I expect more from the owner of the team because I just figured making Alonso a forever Met would have been really important to a guy who claims to have grown up a Met fan. Both of them claim to have grown up a Met fan. And I'm not a Met fan, but I put myself in the shoes of a Met fan. I'd be livid. Not just finding a way to make it work with a guy who didn't want to leave. It's so clear that Pete never wanted to go anywhere else. But the Mets never even made him an offer, so what's he supposed to do? Not take $155 million, all guaranteed? One more from Buster Only. He was on with DNR this morning. Is Tariq Skubal on the table for the Mets?
I think Skubal is the one to watch because here's the thing. I think the Tigers are in a position where their choice is pretty stark with the guy who's considered to be the best pitcher on the planet. Do you keep him for 1 year to try to compete in 2026 in a mediocre American League Central, or do you say, you know what? He's not going to re-sign here. He's represented by Scott Boras. He's going to make $400 million in free agency. So let's flip that 1 year of control and get, 3 or 4 young players who are going to help us going forward, and can help us compete not only in 26, but 27, 28, and 29. You talk with folks with other teams, they think without a doubt the Mets are lined up better than any other team to do that because they've got young major league pitching. They can offer a Jonah Tong. They can offer Sproat. They've got Brett Beatty. They've got other guys. That is the one I'm really fascinated by. Yeah, the Mets could talk about Ranger Suarez, who's one of the best free agents. They could talk about Framber Valdez. But Tarek Skubal is the biggest difference maker available in the marketplace for 2026. And what I'm hearing is the Tigers they're weighing these two options. Keep him, trade him, get his value for him now.
Wouldn't that be 3 options on a random aside? Keep them, trade them, they threw something else out there. I don't know. I don't need to really dive into that. But look, as far as what Buster's saying, I understand the appeal of Tariq Skubal, who doesn't. He's amazing. But logically, does it make sense for the Mets to unload their top prospects for Skubal when they have more money than any team, and if they really want him, they could sign him a year from now? I'd rather just spend money and sign Framber Valdez, who I know had a down year for his standards in Houston this past year. But as someone who used to live in Houston and covered Framber Valdez, that guy is a stud who takes the ball and he pitches. That guy will go out there and he will make his 30 starts every year. He's a horse. That's the guy I think I would sign. This past year, he had a 3.66 ERA. He went 13-11. So not his best year, but the previous year, he was 15-7 with an ERA of 2.91. This is a guy who's been an all-star multiple times. I've seen him pitch big games in the playoffs for the Astros. That's a guy that I would give money to. I think the Mets need to come away with at least one proven starter into their rotation that they can count on. And yes, you have some of the kids that you're hoping could take a big step forward this year and prove that they belong. But I need a bona fide starter for my rotation. I'd rather just spend money and get Valdez than trade away my prospect capital for Skubal, who I could sign in a year anyway. Or maybe I wait till the deadline and see where the Tigers are, and I strike then if that's what I need at that point. As far as the Yankees go, when are they going to make a big move? Right? The only breadcrumb, if you even want to call it that, we got from the Yankees is that Jeff Passan's reporting that the Yankees have listened in on offers for Jazz Chisholm. I like Jazz Chisholm. I don't know what the Yankees would get for Jazz, but I'm certainly not against trading him. I think Jazz is a good player, but I don't know if I want to extend Jazz Chisholm. People will say, he could be a 40-40 player if he stays fully healthy. Well, you know what? He hasn't. And there's a lot of, extra stuff that comes with Jazz. Not all of it's bad, but I'm not trying to just trade him, but I've seen some Yankee fans saying, how could we even consider trading Jazz? I mean, if you trade Jazz Chisholm and the return makes sense, are you not at least considering it if you're the Yankees? How do you not consider it? Of course. But just because they're listening doesn't mean that they're going to trade him. There's a big difference. I still think the Yankees' top priority is Cody Bellinger. I think Cody's preference is to return to the Yankees. But his agent is Scott Boras. So that does not guarantee anything because ultimately, Boras' job, as everyone is aware, is to try and get his client the most money. And maybe that's not the Yankees. But if the Yankees don't re-sign Bellinger, what's the alternative? Is it Kyle Tucker? And I like Kyle Tucker. He's a good player. Is he worth the reported $400 million that apparently it might take to sign him? I don't know about that. We had a good call earlier. Kyle Tucker's hit 30 home runs twice in his career. He's a career 273 hitter, and I get it. Batting average doesn't matter. I still look at that. That's still something for me that I care about, in addition to OPS and OPS plus. I think he's a good player. I think Cody Bellinger has already proven he can handle playing in New York. He can play multiple positions. And I know Cashman said the Yankees are too left-handed, but you know what? Cody Bellinger hits lefties really well, so that doesn't bother me. I am certainly not against the idea of the Yankees making a run at Kyle Tucker, but that would kind of defy everything we've heard about what the Yankees want to be this offseason, where they don't want to spend a ton of money and have a well over $300 million payroll, which I got news for you. If they re-sign Bellinger, they will. But Bellinger and his demands for a contract are going to be far less than what the reported numbers would be for Kyle Tucker. That's just a fact. I like Tucker. I would love it if the Yankees were in on him. It'd be exciting. I still think this ends with him going elsewhere. But the Yankees have to do something big, and maybe there's a big trade we're not thinking of, but you can't tell me they've improved as a baseball team this winter. There's no way. And the spin zone can't be, well, we have a full year now of David Bednar as our closer, and we have a full year of Ryan McMahon at third base. Like, that can't be the spin zone now. Or, hey, Dominguez is the left fielder because we have another full year of development for him. He's going to be awesome. We can't do that. Or we have Cole back at some point, and he's going to provide this big boost. He might not be back till June. We know that Rodon's going to miss the start of the year. The Yankees need another starter, if we're being honest. You know, as much as we all love Cam Schlittler, I love him. I was at the game against Boston this year when he dominated them in the wild card round. Are we sure we can just anoint him as the next ace and we're all set? Like, the Yankees got to make some moves here. And again, the same thing I'll say about the Mets and David Stearns. The offseason is not over. But when are the Yankees going to be the Yankees and make some moves here? That's the big question. 800-919-3776. Nelson Figueroa will be joining us at 2:30. Right now, let's get to some of your calls. Jake Asman in for Michael K.
No Michael K.
Let's say hello to Richard in Manhattan, who starts it off this hour. Hello, Richard.
Jake, you hit it right on the head. Pete Alonso's greatest attribute is his availability, and I'm going to tie that in with a lot of things now. Also, he was a great Citi Field home run hitter. Very hard to hit in Citi Field, and he proved that he can do it. All right, why didn't the Yankees sign Judge right away? He was injury prone. Why did the Giants let Saquon go? Injury prone. The Giants were always worried about Daniel Jones. Injury prone. Eli Manning, his greatness, why is he going to be a Hall of Fame? He suited up every game. That is such an underrated statistic. Nobody ever says that, WAR, exit velo, and this. Those things aren't important unless you're playing. And Pete proved it, so you are right on the money. But I'll give you something else. A year ago, and it's related to what you brought up about Pete's availability. A year ago, Joe Shane made one of the greatest genius moves you've ever seen. He released Daniel Jones because he was afraid he was going to get hurt, and then he'd have to pay the contract. That was a great move. I mean, nobody's talked about it, but, I mean, you don't want to see that happen, but it happens. But there's not enough attention paid on, like you said, availability. You were going through the games, 106. Those are unbelievable numbers. You can't even, I mean, that's, to have a guy that's going to suit up every game, it's invaluable. I mean, they just don't put that in. They don't put that in the analytics. They don't figure that in. Yes, he's not the greatest first baseman fielding-wise, but that can get a little better with time. But everything you brought up was right on the money, Jake. And listen, one more quick thing I want to leave with Jake. I want to see the NBA Finals go or the semifinals, January 1st. Here are my four teams: Boston versus Cleveland, New York versus Detroit. In the West, LA versus Denver, Houston versus OKC. We have an OKC New York final. Right now, January 1st, Jake, what do you think of that? I got my 8 teams in the finals. Why don't we do it, huh? Right now.
Now, Richard.
Pleasure, Jake.
Richard, you are aware that he's gone. All right, thank you, Richard. But you can't try and actually insert a point into Richard. You just got to let him go through like the speedboat. He's like a motorboat. Just let it rip. What I was going to say to Richard, though, is it's December 11th. What is he talking about January 1st getting the prediction for the top 8 teams left in the NBA playoffs at that point? I don't know. Richard, let me say this. I would love a Knicks-Thunder NBA Finals because it means the Knicks would have made it to the NBA Finals for the first time in my lifetime that I actually would remember it happening, right? I can't take credit for the run in 99, the year they lost to the Spurs, because I was 5 years old. But the idea of like the Knicks playing the Thunder, I based on what I've seen from the Thunder this year, the Knicks might be lucky to win a game if they play the Thunder in the finals. I mean, what the Thunder have done is unbelievable. I believe they're 24-1 after last night. And there's legitimate conversation that the OKC Thunder could break the record that the Warriors set several years ago for the most regular season wins in a single season with 73. Now, do the Thunder care about that? Probably not. They want to win another championship. But they're unbelievable. They've won 16 in a row. They are 24-1. I don't know if anyone could beat the Thunder, but I certainly would love the opportunity to try if you're the Knicks. Because at least just getting to the finals would be something that we haven't seen in, 26 years. And it would validate the decision to move on from Thibodeau to Mike Brown. Right? Because anything short of getting to the NBA Finals from a Knicks perspective is going to be looked at as disappointing. That's just the reality. As far as Richard's first point, again, what frustrates me with the Alonso discourse is the idea that because he's 31 years old and he's a first baseman, well, that means that his contract is going to age poorly. He's going to break down. And if you know anything about Pete Alonso, he plays every game. He's played 162 games each of the last 2 years. In his career, he's always played at least 154 games or more. He's an Iron Man. And he's proven he can handle playing in New York. He is beloved by the fan base. This is the guy that you should pay and keep a forever Met. And if you have to get a little uncomfortable with an extra year you don't want to give, that's like the, hey, thanks for being a great Met. Like that's what you do for a franchise legend. So I thought. But Stearns is going to run it his way. Okay, that's fine. He better be right. Because, again, I don't see how you're a better baseball team no matter what you do this offseason when Pete Alonso's not at first base for you. Andrew on Long Island is up next on the K Show with Jake Asman in for Michael. Hello, Andrew.
Hello, Jake. How are you today?
I'm good, Andrew. What do you got for us?
Listen, I want to talk about the Yankees because I want to say something about the Knicks first really quick.
Go ahead.
I don't care who they're playing. If they get to the championship, to the finals, I'll be happy as hell.
Amen.
The last time they won was 72. I was 6 years old, and I just moved from New York City out to Long Island. So between that and the OJ with the white Bronco, and they blacked out the whole quarter, and then the Knicks were losing in Game 7, believe me, I look forward to seeing the Knicks here again. But on the Yankees, listen, who's doing the checks and balances for the Yankees? Because they did $22 million to Trent Grisham, from $5 million to $22 million, and they owe DJ LeMahieu $15 million this year and next year. They ain't getting no Bellinger, I can tell you that, because Hal doesn't want to break the lock off the purse.
Well, not if they don't want to spend, Andrew. That's the thing, right? Like if you're trying to keep the payroll down, there's no way you could re-sign Cody Bellinger and pay him close to $30 million a year and fit that under $300 million. He's going to have to spend more than he wants.
And you know what agitates me, Jake? And I'm sure a lot of Yankee fans and any baseball fan would agree. When you have a billionaire complaining about money, what an insult to the hardworking people that go to the stadium and fill those seats. Really. But also, you know what the problem is with the Yankees? Remember a few years ago they had too many right-handed hitters? Now they have too many left-hand hitters. So in the offseason, if they do it via trade or they wait till next year, left field, shortstop, third baseman, they all got to be right-handed hitters to complement with Judge. Then at least half the team will have some righties. I mean, they're so mismanaged right now with money and position. They got too many left-handers. I don't know what's going on there with them, to be honest. And these pitchers aren't going to be back. Like he was saying, we know Cole might not be back till May, June. They might be in such a hole by then, the Yankees. They could be 10 games out behind Toronto by then. So they definitely have to try to make a move, whether it's via trade or, Al, if you're listening, you got to spend money. If you want to compete, you got to spend. That's just how it is in sports, period.
Andrew, I appreciate the call. Look, here's the reality for the Yankees. They will get those guys back, and I don't think they'll be 10 out by the time they do. But the rest of the American League East has gotten better this offseason. Can we agree? Obviously, Toronto is still going to be right there with any team in the American League off of what they just did. And I don't think Dylan Cease is necessarily great, but they did add him to their rotation now. Boston added Sonny Gray, who I actually think will not be any good in Boston, but still, small market Sonny's over there now. You look at the moves the Orioles have made, Alonso being the biggest, but they also added some relief pitching. We'll see some of the other moves they're reportedly still looking to make. They have money they want to spend with a new ownership group. I mean, the Yankees, they're good, not a bad team, but they truly have not been like the most dominant team that we have seen in years, right? Like, when was the last time the Yankees were the clear consensus best team in the American League? And you could say, oh, well, in 2024, like, I mean, they went through a watered-down American League to get to the World Series. They didn't have to go through Houston. They had to go through Baltimore that year. They went through two teams in the American League Central. So I have major questions with this team. I think they're good, not great, which is kind of what they have been. And some of it, I think, is, yes, required. You're going to have to spend some money. But I think the biggest gripe the Yankee fan has with the Yankee organization is, if Hal's going to talk about not wanting to spend money or doesn't think you need to have a $300+ million payroll to be successful, when do you question the guy that you have had as your team's general manager since 1998 for poorly spending the money that you have provided for him, right? Again, the Yankees are paying a lot of guys to not play for them, whether it's LeMahieu or Aaron Hicks. You go down the line of some of the bad contracts that have been given out over the years, and Brian Cashman continues to have a job, and he gets to do it his way, because it just feels like as long as they make the playoffs, that's the only real goal for the Yankees. Like, it's no longer win the World Series at all costs. Their expectations are, hey, if we get in, we did our job, and eventually one of these years we'll find a way to win it all. But it's no longer like win the World Series at all costs. Like how the Dodgers operate, that's how the Yankees used to be. They don't operate that way. It's, can we make the postseason? And if we do, whether Brian Cashman wants to use the word crapshoot or it's random, like, I think Hal is fully bought into that. That, as long as we get in, we get those extra home games. The ratings on Yes Network are high. We're selling all the advertisements all around the stadium. We're fine with that. We're profitable. It's not win at all cost anymore, which I think that is the disconnect between the Yankee organization and the Yankee fan. More of your calls coming up. We're also going to be joined in the next segment by Nelson Figueroa, former New York Met. You watch him on Pix 11 now in their sports department. Get his thoughts on what was a wild 48 hours for every Met fan out there. Where do they go from here? We'll get Figueroa's thoughts on that and much more. Keep it right here. Jake Asman in for Michael K. till 3. You're listening to all of it on 880 ESPN New York, the ESPN New York app, and the ESPN New York YouTube channel.
To help those who want to be helped but may not be able to afford it.
That's what PGA Tour winner Grayson Murray had envisioned for a foundation before he sadly took his own life at just 30 years old. His parents channeled their grief into creating the Grayson Murray Foundation, carrying out his vision to help those struggling with mental health and addiction. To donate and learn more, visit GraysonMurrayFoundation.com.
If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, then you need a lawyer who knows New York's unique personal injury and workers' compensation laws. At the Parisman Firm, they have decades of experience handling all types of accident cases and a proven track record of delivering huge results. Their team has already recovered nearly $1 billion for injured New Yorkers. From construction to car accidents and slips and falls, they've got you covered. Call the Parisman Firm now at 718-WORKERS, where your case is their cause. Get the justice you deserve today.
When equipment breaks down and operations come to a halt, every single second counts. So why is your maintenance team spending 60% of their time doing anything but turning wrenches? MaintainX is the AI-powered maintenance and asset management system that helps your team get back to actually fixing breakdowns. No more searching for manuals. No more hunting down parts. No more drowning in paperwork. With MaintainX, your team can access manuals from anywhere, create new procedures in minutes, and turn voice notes into clear and complete work order feedback. What used to take hours now only takes minutes. Keep your operations moving, not your paperwork. Join over 11,000 maintenance teams that are already fixing more and filing less. Try MaintainX for free today. Go to maintainx.com/AI. That's maintain in the letter x.com/AI.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN right now to try it for free, and you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/ESPN.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Hey, it's Alan Hahn. Let me tell you about my friends at Bathfitter. They remodeled the bath by my pool. They converted a tub into a shower. The result is amazing. Bathfitter offers all types of custom bath renovations, including their unique PermaFit solution for a watertight fit. It's done in one day, easy to clean, and durable with no demo or mess, and it costs less than a standard replacement. Plus, a lifetime guarantee. Right now, you get no money down, no payments, or interest until 2027. So start designing your bath today at bathfitter.com. There's only one Bathfitter.
Some stages celebrate. This one tests everything. Every drive, every approach, every putt. Pressure builds, resilience matters, and history waits for the bold. In June, the 2026 U.S. Open Championship returns to the Hamptons at the iconic Shinnecock Hills Golf Club. Experience the world's best golfers competing on one of the sport's most storied stages. Don't just watch greatness, experience it live at the 126th U.S. Open. Daily tickets are available now on SeatGeek.
A SoFi personal loan is here to help you achieve something once thought impossible: overcoming high-interest credit card debt. Walk the tightrope of your finances with one low, fixed-rate monthly payment, no fees required, and as soon as the same-day funding. That's right. Pull off your own debt-defying stunt with a SoFi personal loan. Visit SoFi.com/trick to learn more. Loans originated by SoFi Bank, N.A., member FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. NMLS 696891.
Getting more as a MyLowe's Pro Rewards member is easier than ever with the Lowe's app. Download it today and earn 500 points the first time you log in. Plus, your digital wallet helps you scan, save, earn, and access what you need to manage it all in one place. Download the Lowe's app and take advantage of your Pro benefits today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid 12/1/25 through 1/7/26. Offer valid for first login per organization only. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Additional restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms for more details. Subject to change.
The Michael K. Show right here on ESPN New York. Jake Asman in for Michael, taking you till Don Hahn in Rosenberg at 3 o'clock. The big story remains the fallout from Pete Alonso and Edwin Diaz leaving in free agency from the New York Mets. For more on this and for more on all things Major League Baseball, we say hello to a former member of the New York Mets. You now watch him on Pix 11. Nelson Figueroa joins us now. Nelly, always appreciate your time. Thanks for hopping on today.
Thank you for having me, Jake. How's it going?
I'm hanging in. I mean, I know a lot of Met fans are going through it the last 48 hours or so. And, you know, for you, Nelly, what was your initial reaction to both Edwin Diaz on Monday and then, of course, you get the Alonso news yesterday?
Yeah, one of the things about the Edwin Diaz deal, it was, you know, crazy for him to not opt out and to try and re-up. He had $38 million left on that deal. They decided to allow him to get to free agency and figure out, you know, where he stood in the market. And I think one of the things they just assumed was they were going to have a chance to, I guess, throw in their last final bid. And they weren't given that chance. When the Dodgers come calling and make you the closer of all time, two-time World Series champion, and it just was probably too good to say no to, and they probably gave him a one shot at it. And him and his agent said, "Let's just do it. Let's do it. Let's secure the bag and keep going." It's a big blow to the team because the fall off from Diaz to the next available closer in the free agent market was very steep.
Were you surprised, Nelson, that the Mets didn't basically say to Edwin Diaz, hey, like, we'll go an extra year if that's what it would take to get him? Like, you bring up the Dodgers offer, they said, hey, take it or leave it. But part of me is just so surprised that there was never an opportunity, it doesn't feel like, for the Mets to increase that offer and keep arguably the best closer in the sport.
Oh, without a doubt. I think if you had kept it at around the same AAV and gave him the extra year, it would have been more meaningful. You're not talking about a closer who's just came off one of his best seasons, a 1.65 ERA, over 100 strikeouts in 65 innings. It was, he was as good as he had ever been, and you want to have that kind of security blanket for your bullpen. The report that said that phone call or talked about because they signed Williams. A bullpen isn't one guy, so I don't feel that the Mets were in the wrong for signing Williams, where you feel you can have Williams and Diaz. Again, money was supposed to be no object for this team. It wasn't supposed to be a or. It's an and for me. And I thought that if you're Diaz, why wouldn't you welcome having a Devin Williams in the bullpen so that, some nights are very secure that you don't have to be the guy every single night. The Dodgers were able to do that without, they signed the best closer at the time in Tanner Scott, and he was not good last year, but they still were able in a major way to win another world championship. How do you not see the benefits? You're going to get paid the same regardless. So whether you save 57 games or you save 35 games and you're fresh for the playoff race, I think those things would matter more to a pitcher than necessarily each and every night for the next 3 years or whatever, 4 years it would have been. I don't buy the phone call to not let them know that they were signing Williams was a factor into this thing. I think overall it was the guaranteed money. It was an opportunity to go to the Dodgers of all places. Now if you sign with the Pittsburgh Pirates, you can say, what are we doing? So it's a shock because you couldn't consider that happening, especially when this ownership group was supposed to be by any means necessary. There's no saying no to how much money it's going to cost because of dollars. Yes, an extra year is a big deal, but at the same time, there's ways to do that with options and buyouts and whatnot that they could have made it work. But as far as I know, and as far as anyone knows, the Mets are not given an opportunity to match the offer.
Nelson Figueroa is our guest here, co-host of Sports Nation Nightly, Picks 11 p.m., so you can check Nelly out there, of course, former Major League pitcher. And Nelson, you kind of tied into where I wanted to go next, right? Money shouldn't be an issue, and you have an owner who seems to really get the fan base, David Stearns, who says he grew up a Met fan. So what's the justification for not finding a way to let Pete Alonso come back to work something out with a guy who, in my opinion, should have been a forever Met?
Yeah, that's how Pete felt as well. Was talking very famously as he went into free agency how he wanted to stay a forever Met. And you thought when they went down to Tampa and talked with him last year and sat with him and told him, how important he was to the organization and their success, and he went out and had. I truly felt during the season to go against the grain and say, you know what, give the man his just due. He seems to have a bounce back. He's the one that was batting when Soto was struggling the first 2 months of the season. It was Pete Alonso's bat that kept them, in first place. He was never part of the problem. He was more part of the solution with this team in a multitude of ways. A leader that, as soon as he hit the big leagues, kind of changed everything for the fan base. They hadn't had a hitter like him, and since David Wright, you haven't had a guy that you could hang your hat on. A homegrown product that wanted to be that guy. And again, you look at it and can you sit there and say it's just a few million more? You hear reports that they never even made an offer to Pete. They allowed him to go and test the waters and, thinking that they would probably get a say at the, they didn't even make an offer. So on that note, Pete and Boris did what they felt was best to go ahead and sign with the Orioles and take that money and a guaranteed money, which, equates to more AAV if he had just taken that deal famously that he turned down with during the Billy Epler regime. I didn't see him getting that kind of money, but I also didn't see Kyle Schwarber based on what we heard about DHs and guys not aging well. And you get Schwarber to get $30 million a year, Vladimir Guerrero type money, junior type money who's in his prime. You got guys who are 2 years older than Pete Alonso getting 30, and Pete was able to get 31. Which, again, doesn't seem like there should be a batting of the eye for Steve Cohen to say, we'll give you $2 million more. than that to keep him in a Met uniform. But if they weren't willing to make an offer and they tried to play chicken, well, they got punked out at the end.
What is the now pivot in your mind? What would make sense for the Mets? Because, again, like to me, their big issue last year, as you know, was the pitching, the bullpen, of course. Alonso delivered. Edwin Diaz delivered. What is the pivot now for David Stearns? Because obviously he's got a plan. I just know there's a lot of Met fans freaking out because as of now we still don't know what exactly that plan is.
I mean, you lost guys that you felt real comfortable with, and Brandon Nimmo, Diaz as well. Pete Alonso, of course, at first base. Yes, defensively, the minus 10 defensive runs saved. Does that really matter when he's driving in 120 and hitting you 40 home runs? Like that math doesn't equate. So you can go with the metrics all you want. All you know is that Pete Alonso was a guy that score with every single at bat. So how do you pivot from that? It takes a multitude of guys. There's no one on the free agent market that you're going to put in as a first baseman and say that this is the answer. In-house options are not aplenty. That they have some youth movement guys down on the farm system. You have Clifford. You also have Vientos if you're going to move him over because Beatty is supposed to be slated as the third baseman. We're not even in spring training yet, but we're hearing that. So there's trades that they can try and work out. But we knew this about the free agent market last year. There was no one like Pete Alonso and what he brought to you from a power standpoint. So for me, you're going to have to go. They've got to be thinking a different direction. So Luis Arraez is a guy who can hit for average. He can drive in some runs. He played first base for the Padres last year. That's a guy in the free agent market who's only 28 years old. That's an option. Nothing is sexy. There's no sexy shot at Murakami. Then it's really like, how do you replace something of that magnitude? The only way to do it is famously what we saw last year with the Yankees, able to pivot to plan B, and they went out and got Bellinger, and they went out and got Max Fried. So they did it with a multitude and Goldschmidt, three guys that were able to kind of, fill in and give you almost the amount of production that Juan Soto did, but they have to get a starting pitcher first and foremost. You're not going to replace Pete straight up. The Bellinger's value just skyrocketed because now with Schwarber off, Pete off the board, Bellinger and his ability to play multiple positions looks like the must-have for the Mets, and that just made his price tag go up.
Nelson, always good to catch up. Appreciate the time and continued success with Sports Nation Nightly on Pix 11.
Thank you so much. Take care, Jake.
Nelson Figueroa with us there. Again, I mean, he outlined it. There is no, to me, real sexy option. Even if the Mets were to sign, let's say, Cody Bellinger and say, we'll put him at first base. If you're going to sign Cody Bellinger, why not just retain Pete Alonso at that point? He's a better hitter. Yes, Bellinger's a really good defensive player, but Bellinger's streaky. If you look at his offensive years, he's had some great years, like what he just did with the Yankees. He's also had some years where, he basically was available for the Yankees to acquire for next to nothing because he was coming off a mediocre year in Chicago. He got non-tendered by the Dodgers at the end of his run there. I don't get it. Money should not be an issue for the Mets, and clearly it wasn't. This is what David Stearns wants to do. He believes he could build a better team without these players. I just find it hard to believe he can. I think we're overthinking it here. You got a guy who wanted to be a Met, who mashes and plays 162 games every year. Just pay him, keep him. It means a lot to your fan base. He's a good guy in the clubhouse based on everything we've heard. And he helps you win. He's not the reason why you missed the playoffs this past year. He's not. Again, the logic from some is, Edwin Diaz and Alonso, they were awesome players. They were great Mets, but they didn't win anything with them. Like, I'm fine moving on and doing it differently. And I just think that is incredibly lazy. They were two of the few guys who actually held up their end of the bargain. It is not their fault that the Mets did not win more games when they were here. It's not. And the reason why the Mets struggled last year is because some of the genius moves that the president of baseball operations made were Frankie Montes and Cedric Mullins and Ryan Stanek. And go down the line through all the different pitchers the Mets tried last year that did not perform. To me, it's lazy to try and say they have to do it differently now. Why do we need to overthink it? You could do other things differently, but keep the guys that are actually really good at their jobs that want to be Mets, like Pete Alonso. Yankees haven't won with Judge. Should they trade him? I just don't quite understand the logic. 800-919-3776. One segment to go. We got plenty of time for your calls. Keep it right here. No Michael K. Jake Asman in for Michael, taking you till Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg at 3. More coming up on 880 ESPN New York, the ESPN New York app, and the ESPN New York YouTube channel.
Hey, it's Michael K. talking to you about my friends at PC Richard & Son. They're local, family-owned, and I trust them, and you can too. Right now, save on all holiday gifts for everyone on your list. And with their holiday price guarantee, your price is protected. If the price goes lower from now through December 24th, they will match it. You can't beat it. Plus, you get fast and free delivery. PC Richard & Son, the company you could trust for over 116 years. Free delivery excludes Manhattan.
Discover a driving experience crafted to inspire. At Garden City Mazda, exceptional design and sophisticated performance come together. During the Mazda More to Move You sales event, lease the 2025 Mazda CX-5 for $229 a month for 33 months. Or the 2025 Mazda CX-50 for $239 a month for 33 months. Both with $49.95 due at signing. It's the Mazda More to Move You sales event at Garden City Mazda. At Garden City Mazda, expect the exceptional.
Ox Spine at New York Presbyterian is always in pursuit of a better way to heal the spine. We're getting more people moving again with minimally invasive, non-surgical, and surgical treatments with innovative solutions for every back and spine condition and your unique needs. Expert spine care is available now across New York City and Westchester. Find a doctor at nyp.org/oxspine. Stay amazing. New York Presbyterian.
Listen up, football fans. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in New Jersey. T&Cs apply. In-app only.
Every aspect of your business will operate better and faster with artificial intelligence. AI is a race, and companies that act first will win. Thrive Managed AI is your advantage over all your competitors. Thrive partners with you on a smart, secure AI strategy for your business. Then they deploy and manage it for you. Be first and win the race with Thrive Managed AI. Start with a complimentary strategy consultation at thrivenextgen.com/ESPN. That's thrivenextgen.com/ESPN.
The holidays are here, and Amazon Pickup is your MVP of package pickup. Need that perfect gift like a brand new jersey for the big game? With Amazon Pickup, you can grab your order from secure Amazon lockers or counters near you on your schedule at no extra cost. It's fast, it's easy, and it keeps your holiday surprises tucked safely away. So whether you're running from work or heading to the holiday party, Amazon Pickup makes holiday shopping worry-free. Find your nearest Amazon Pickup location at amazon.com/pickupmvp. That's amazon.com/pickupmvp.
Fellas, it's the season to shine, and not just from the holiday lights. Manscaped is here to keep you looking sharp for every holiday party, family photo, and mistletoe moment. The Lawnmower 5, groin and body trimmer, and the Chairman Plus face shaver deliver precision, comfort, and control worthy of Santa's nice list. I've been good and nice. Whether you're tidying up before a big night out or preparing for New Year's Eve, Manscaped has your back. And your face too, to be exact. So gift yourself with some grooming greatness this season, because looking good is the best gift of all. And now you can find Manscaped products at your local Walmart.
Hey, fans! Welcome back to Fansville's Cheers and Tears. Oh. Okay, so like everybody deals with losing, right? To a rival on a last-second field goal. Whatever, it's fine. I'm totally fine. But I cope with losing with an ice-cold Dr. Pepper. Those 23 flavors are like so delicious. They totally wash away the pain of your college football team taking a big fat L. College football. It's a pepper thing.
ESPN New York is throwing a holiday party you don't want to miss. Join us this Friday at your mother's house in Garden City. We'll be broadcasting the Michael K. Show live from 1 to 3, followed by Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg from 3 to 7, all while supporting a great cause. Bring a toy to benefit the Garden of Dreams Foundation and help make the season brighter for local kids in need. It's the ESPN New York Holiday Party this Friday, brought to you by Spiked Aid, Security Dodge, Amazon Pickup, and ESPN New York.
Wrapping up a Thursday edition of the Michael K. Show without Michael K.
No Michael K.
Michael will be back tomorrow at the holiday party at your mother's house. That's right. Garden City Park, Long Island. Great spot. Unfortunately, I can't make it tomorrow, but I've been there many times being from Long Island, and I highly recommend it. So it's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow for those of you who are making the trip. 800-919-3776. Let's get to some of your last remaining calls here before we hand it over to Don Hahn and Rosenberg coming up in about 10 minutes. Let's say hello to Mark, who's in Long Beach. Speaking of Long Island. Hello, Mark.
How you doing? I'm looking at the list of all-time Yankees who never played for another team. Lou Gehrig, Joe DiMaggio, Mickey Mantle, Whitey Ford, Derek Jeter, all-time greats, right? You look at the Mets. David Wright, okay, injury curtailed his career. And then after that, the guys who played a lot of games, Ed Kranepool, Ron Hodges, Bruce Beauclair. I mean, it's like every great player that we ever get, they are either traded away like Seaver or they just let them leave, like with Alonso, with Strawberry. I mean, it really, it's so frustrating as a Met fan. How is Stearns such a genius?
That's what I'm trying to figure out, Mark. And I love your passion because, again, comparing any franchise to the Yankees, right, is very difficult given their history, and they've been around a lot longer than the Mets have. But Alonso is the perfect guy to make a forever Met, right? He wants to be here. He's beloved by the fan base. It's not like his contract demands were outrageous. They were not. He plays every game. So the fall off of, we can't give a first baseman a 5-year deal because God forbid the last year of it's not great. Okay, and none of these long-term contracts age all that great. I'd rather have the guy that is a homegrown Met be the guy that we deal with the last year not being awesome. If that even happens, which we don't know. And if you win a championship before the last year of the deal or at any point during Alonso's deal, do you care? Money should not be a problem. If Alonso becomes a problem in the last year of a 5-year deal, you could buy him out for that last year. You're Steve Cohen. You have more money than any owner in professional sports. So I don't get it. Honestly, this might be a little controversial because I think there are some Met fans that actually wanted Edwin Diaz back more than Pete. I understand the Mets not wanting to go 4 or 5 years with a relief pitcher. Because relief pitchers, year to year, sometimes we know how it goes. They could lose it quickly. I think with Diaz, the fact that it was only a 3-year deal he left for, maybe he just didn't want to be a Met. Maybe he just wanted to go to the Dodgers. We don't know the full story there yet. But, I could live with not bringing Diaz back. But once they didn't re-sign Diaz, I thought, well, they're obviously now going to pay Pete. They already got rid of Nimmo. They changed the closer now. Bring back Pete Alonso. To not even offer him a contract. That's what just stuns me. And again, I don't think you're a better baseball team no matter what moves you make without Pete Alonso and his production in the middle of that lineup protecting Juan Soto, who, as Ron Darling said yesterday on the MLB Network, is about to be walked 150-plus times. Because why would you pitch to Soto when the guys behind him aren't going to make you pay for it? And unless the Mets are going to make this big splash for a bat we're not thinking of. And even Kyle Tucker's not as good of an offensive player as Pete Alonso is. He's not. Again, I would get it if Alonso was injury-prone and you had reservations about him staying healthy. There is no evidence that Pete Alonso is going to fall off a cliff and become an injury-plagued player just because he happens to be 31 years old. See, the Phillies didn't seem to care. They paid the big money to Schwarber. They recognize his value to that team, that clubhouse, that lineup, his presence. I don't get it. Tony in Tampa, up next on the K Show with Jake Asman in for Michael. Hello, Tony.
Jake, what's going on, my man? How are we?
Tony, I'm fantastic. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. So, a couple things on the Yanks. Number one, I know you mentioned Jazz earlier. Would you package Jazz and some prospects or what have you for Ketel Marte right now?
I don't think I would because Marte's, 32 years old. He signed for 5 more years. Am I that much better of a baseball team getting rid of Jazz and prospects? I don't think the Yankees are that much better.
All right. I mean, Marte, obviously, he's a better hitter than Jazz. So I was just wanted to see your thoughts on that.
He is, but he's 32. Will turn 33 this year. And look, I think Jazz is at times a bit of a flawed player, but he's 27 years old going into a contract year. I think Jazz Chisholm's capable of giving you a big time season this year. I don't want to get rid of him unless I'm clearly upgrading. And while Marte might be a better player for a year, I don't know if I'm that much better of a baseball team overall.
Yeah, no, I hear that. And another thing here, I want to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think at times the Yankees hold on to these prospects too long? I mean, I can name you Miguel Andujar, Clint Frazier, Davey Garcia,
Gary Sanchez.
Sanchez,
Of course,
Peraza,
Greg Bird,
right?
Jesus Montero. We could do this all day, Tony. Yes, I have knocked Cashman for this for years. The prospect hugging has cost the Yankees severely over the years. And then by the time they're ready to move on from a guy, their value is totally crushed, and then the Yankees get nothing for them. That's been a big problem during all this. Remember, they didn't get Garrett Cole because they had to keep Miguel Andujar. That was the holdup in the Garrett Cole trade with the Pirates before he ended up going to Houston. So, yeah, that's been a big problem. I'm willing to trade anyone this offseason. The Yankees window is right now. Aaron Judge is going to be 34 years old this year. It kills me knowing he might not win a championship with the Yankees. And it was eerie. I said this the day I filled in for Michael, the day after Judge won the MVP award. It was eerie watching Don Mattingly announce Judge as the winner of his third MVP award, knowing that the history of Don Mattingly, he's known for being the best Yankee that never won a championship. And that's going to be Judge if he doesn't get another ring. So, yes, that definitely concerns me. I would trade Spencer Jones. I'd trade George Lombard. All these guys are just prospects. The same people who are saying you can't trade those guys are the same people who are telling you Anthony Volpe's untouchable. We shouldn't sign any of these stud shortstops because we have Volpe coming up. Or we have Peraza coming up, another guy that they waited too long to do anything with and his value totally depreciated. I would trade anyone. They're just prospects. I don't think the Yankees think that way, though, because that's their history. But I digress. All right, that does it for me. Don Hahn Rosenberg is coming up next. Peter Rosenberg just walked into the studio. He looks handsome with his wool cap on. Tremendous. That's coming your way next. Thanks to everyone who tuned in. Big thank you to both Ray and our guy Joe Leo for producing. And that's all, folks. See you later. Don Hahn Rosenberg is coming up next here on 880 ESPN New York, the ESPN New York app, and the ESPN New York YouTube channel.